All right, today we're jumping into one of Japan's most famous and beloved folktales. It's a story of courage, teamwork, and a hero who comes from, well, a very unlikely place. Let's get into the legend of Momotaro, the Peach Boy. So, this is the guy, Momotaro. His name literally translates to Peach Boy, and believe me, in the world of Japanese folklore, he is a massive deal, a true icon whose story has been passed down for centuries. Okay, so how does a legend like this get started? Well, the version most people know kicks off with a simple act of kindness and, a bit of a miracle. So picture this, you've got this sweet elderly couple. They've always wanted a child but never had one. One day, the old woman's down by the river washing clothes, and what does she see? This absolutely enormous peach just floating her way. Of course she's got to take it home. So they get it home, and just as they're about to slice into this thing, bam! It splits open all on its own. And inside, a healthy, bouncing baby boy. I mean, can you imagine? They were just over the moon. They named him Momotaro and raised him as their very own. So, Momotaro grows up, and he's not just any kid. He's incredibly strong and super brave. But, there's trouble brewing. He starts hearing these stories about a gang of monstrous demons, these things called Oni, who live on this far-off island called Onigashima. And these guys are bad news. They're terrorizing the countryside, stealing treasure, you name it. Right then and there, Momotaro knew what his mission was. He goes to his parents and says, "I'm going to Onigashima. I'm going to put a stop to these Oni and their reign of terror once and for all." And just like that, his heroic quest begins. But you can't just go fight a bunch of demons alone, right? So here's where it gets interesting. This is how he builds his crew. His mother packs him some special millet dumplings, these things called kibidongo, for the road. And on his way, he runs into a dog, then a monkey, and finally a pheasant. And with each one, he does something really simple but powerful. He shares one of his dumplings. And just for that act of generosity, they pledge their loyalty and join his mission. So they get to the gloomy shores of Onigashima, and they don't just charge in. Nope, they launch this brilliant, coordinated attack. First up, the pheasant. It soars right over the fortress walls, creating total chaos, pecking at the demon's eyes from the sky. While the demons are distracted, that's the monkey's cue. It scampers up the fortress walls, super agile, and gets inside to unlock the main gates for the whole team. Genius, right? And boom, the gates are open. The dog charges right in, biting and snapping at the demons. Momotaro's right behind him, sword in hand, fighting like a true hero. The Oni were totally overwhelmed. I mean, they never saw this coming. Their leader just surrenders, begs for his life, and gives back every last piece of stolen treasure. So Momotaro and his loyal friends head home as total heroes, and they all live happily ever after. A classic ending. But wait a minute, that amazing story of a boy born from a peach? What if I told you that wasn't the original story? Yeah, this is where the legend gets really fascinating. So it turns out, if you dig into the oldest written versions of this tale, you find a totally different origin story. It's called the rejuvenation story. In that one, the old woman actually eats the peach and poof, she's young again. Her husband does the same, and then they're able to have a child. The old-fashioned way. The whole birth from a peach version that we all know and love, that was actually standardized way later during the Meiji period, specifically for school textbooks. And this change actually points to something much deeper. See, in Japan, the peach has been a powerful symbol of fertility and even sex for a long, long time, which makes total sense for that older rejuvenation story, right? So why the change? Well, this wasn't just a random edit. Over the years, Momotaro's story was deliberately shaped to serve a much bigger national purpose. If you look back, during the Edo period, it was just a fun, popular folktale with lots of different versions floating around. But then, in 1887, everything changes. The government sticks it in national school textbooks. Then, during the Meiji period, it's standardized to teach kids lessons about bravery and loyalty. And then, things get really intense. By World War II, Momotaro is a full-blown propaganda symbol. And guess who the Oni represented? The Allied forces. But not everyone was on board with this. Even back in 1925, you had critics like the novelist Yamamoto Yuzo speaking out. He was worried, saying that teaching kids to punish the Oni for no real reason was basically telling them to think of all foreigners as demons. So, despite this really complex history, the legend of Momotaro is honestly more alive today than ever before, especially if you go to one particular part of Japan. If you ever get the chance to visit Okayama Prefecture, they call it the Land of Sunshine, you'll find Momotaro everywhere. He's not just a character from a storybook there, he's their official local hero. The whole region has totally embraced this legend as their own. And I mean, the connection is literally all over the place. You've got bronze statues at the train station and the airport. There's a famous shrine that people say was the inspiration for the whole legend. And of course, you can buy those famous kibidongo dumplings as a local treat. They even have a huge summer festival based on the story. And get this, Momotaro-themed manhole covers all over the city. It's a story that's truly part of the landscape. At the end of the day, I think the story of Momotaro sticks around because its core ideas are just so timeless. It's about bravery when you're scared, right? It's about how generosity can build a team. And most importantly, it's about the incredible power that comes from unity, different individuals working together. And it all leaves you with this one really big question to chew on. How does a simple children's story become a national symbol? I mean, from a folktale about a boy in a peach to a tool for national identity and even propaganda, Momotaro's journey really shows you just how powerful stories can be in shaping an entire culture.